A wealthy businessman, Mr. Harrison, and his 10-year-old son, Jeff, were enjoying a weekend shopping spree at one of the most luxurious malls in the city. Jeff had always been his father's pride and joy, a bright, compassionate boy with a heart as big as his dreams. The father and son walked out of the grand shopping center, their hands filled with expensive bags containing the finest clothes, shoes, and accessories money could buy. As they made their way to their sleek, black luxury car, a frail boy, covered in dirt and dressed in rags, timidly approached them. His tiny body trembled, not just from the cold but from sheer desperation. His wide, sorrowful eyes held the weight of hardship far beyond his years. "Please, sir, help me," the poor boy pleaded, his voice quivering. "I have no clothes left to wear. These are all I have." Mr. Harrison halted in his tracks, turning to face the child. He scanned the boy's torn and shredded garments, his heart tightening with empathy. It was clear that this child had endured a life of unimaginable struggle. "What's your name, son?" Mr. Harrison asked gently. "David, sir," the boy replied, barely above a whisper. "And how old are you, David?" "I just turned 10. Mr. Harrison nodded, his expression softening. He turned to his son. "Jeff, David is the same age as you. Don't you think sharing some of your new clothes with him would be generous? We can always come back and shop for more tomorrow." Jeff hesitated momentarily before whispering, "It's okay, Dad." His father smiled, then reached into one of their shopping bags, pulling out a few crisp, new shirts, a pair of pants, and a jacket. He handed them to David, who held the clothes against his chest as if he had just received a treasure beyond value. "Thank you, sir," David said, his voice thick with gratitude. "Where do you live?" Mr. Harrison asked. David lowered his head in shame. "Under the bridge, just down the street." Mr. Harrison's heart ached at the response, but he knew there was only so much he could do at that moment. With a final pat on the boy's shoulder, he and Jeff got into their car and drove away. David stood there for a long time, watching as their car disappeared into the distance, clutching the clothes tightly. 3 months passed. Life went on, but a dark cloud loomed over the Harrison family. Jeff, their bright and compassionate son, had been battling terminal cancer for 3 years. They had known all along that time was against them, but knowing didn't make the loss any easier. The house, once filled with laughter, now echoed with silence and grief. One evening, as Mr. Harrison sat in Jeff's room, clutching one of his son's shirts to his chest, he recalled Jeff's last words to him. "Dad, when I'm finally gone, will you promise me something?" Jeff's weak voice had asked. "Anything, my boy," Mr. Harrison had whispered, holding back tears. "Remember the poor kid we met outside the mall? The one with no clothes?" Jeff paused, taking a shaky breath. "Give him all my things, everything. He needs them more than I ever will." Now, 3 months later, Mr. Harrison found himself driving down that same street, searching under the bridge. When he finally found David, the boy was curled up under a tattered blanket, his face pale from the harsh conditions. "David," Mr. Harrison called, stepping out of his car. David blinked up at him, barely believing what he saw. "Come with me, son." David hesitated before slowly following him to the car. Mr. Harrison opened the trunk, revealing boxes filled with clothes, shoes, bags, and even toys. "These belong to my son, Jeff," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "And now they belong to you." David gasped, his small hands trembling as he touched the neatly packed items. Tears welled in his eyes. "But won't your son need them?" he asked. Mr. Harrison took a deep breath before replying. "No, David. Jeff is in heaven now. He knew he wouldn't be here much longer, and his last wish was for you to have everything he left behind." David couldn't stop the tears from falling. He sobbed into his hands, overwhelmed by the kindness of a boy he had met only once. Mr. Harrison gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "You may be poor, but you have no idea how blessed you are to have life. Something money cannot buy. If I could have bought 100 lives for my son, I would have. But some things are simply impossible." With that, Mr. Harrison made a life-changing decision. He and his wife took David into their home, adopting him as their own. They gave him love, warmth, and the family he had never known. And somewhere beyond this world, Jeff watched, smiling, knowing he had shared his family and their love with a boy who needed it most. That's life. We often compare ourselves to others, forgetting that perfection does not exist. Everyone faces struggles, but as long as there is life, there is hope.